Yeah, yeah. What's happening? What's happening? Your witches out here. Just going to talk about a real quick topic, man, that I think that a lot of black content creators need to be thinking about. If you're on YouTube, you're on all these various platforms. What's your future? What's your future with all of this here? When it comes down to this particular subject, I know quite a few people that have gotten onto YouTube. They really enjoyed the fact that YouTube has given us, the freedoms that we really want to be able to have in life. And when it comes down to financial freedoms, freedom of expression, freedom of speech, when it comes down to, just your freedom of your time, these are all of the things that a lot of people that have gravitated to YouTube as content creators have thought about and decided to, take YouTube serious. But this here conversation is not going to be just about YouTube. It's also going to be about content creators in general. So, I just want to share some of my thoughts on the future of quote unquote black content creators on YouTube and how, we going to change things all over again. So just want to say peace and shalom to everybody that's coming in, to have this conversation with me real quick. But pretty much, YouTube has been a platform that's built off the talent and creativity of so-called black people for the last almost 20 years. Soldier Boy could tell you, Soldier Boy, he'll talk like he was the first one on YouTube. As far as the music side of things, he probably really was, what I'm saying, from my recollection. He probably really was one of the first rappers to hit up YouTube, you know what I'm saying? And in return, YouTube has shared their ad revenue with content creators and have added a number of monetization tools. But is it enough? Is it enough? YouTube has put, the power of our image back in our hands, where networks in the past, perverted our image in many ways. There's a lot of stereotypical images that have been perpetuated over the years, that the major networks, NBC, CBS, you name it, they've used that and monetized off of those particular images. And to date, we still don't have a seat at the table or a say when it comes down to our image or how we gain or monetize off of how our image is being used. In addition to that, I think that's the reason why a lot of people have gravitated towards YouTube. And hopefully everybody can hear me okay. This is live that I'm recording at this moment. Some people may come find this video later. So hopefully I want to make sure it's heard for everybody when they tap in. But pretty much, YouTube has put that power back in our hands, whereas other networks have perverted our image, like I said. But at the end of the day, we have to ask, just because we have, the freedom to be able to do certain things, really is it enough? You know what I'm saying? And has it really been equitable? So here are some of the ways that I would say that YouTube has been equitable, when it comes down to so-called black people on these creative spaces. And for those of y'all that are my direct audience, that tap into my streams, you're going to gain a lot out of this, because this has to do with a future that a lot of people not expecting to see when it comes down to YouTube. So you definitely want to stick around and hear where I'm taking this, because this is actually going to be, this is definitely one of the most powerful things that's going to happen within the next 10 to 20 years, I would say, when it comes down to so-called black content creators, rather it be on YouTube or other social media platforms. So the way that YouTube has been equitable to us, over the years, as I said, we had that freedom, financial freedom, freedom of time. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people are not clocking in and clocking out. You know what I mean? They're just setting up their camera and sitting down in front of the camera and talking to the people, or doing some type of activity and recording it. And, you know, they got freedom of their time. There's also freedom of creativity and expression, as I explained earlier. And there's also the, you know, exposure. We're getting a lot of exposure on particular subjects that really matter to us. And also there has been some social change because our voices are being heard over these platforms. So, you know, that is all good, but still, is it enough? I'm really curious, if is any of that enough, right? So, you know, I feel like this is how I feel when it comes down to whether or not it's enough. I feel like, you know, for as much sauce as we have added to YouTube, I mean, over the almost the last 20 years, you know, I think coming real soon, YouTube will be in business for 20 years now, and most so-called black people already know that we built this platform. This black platform wouldn't be around. We should own at least half of the stock of YouTube, since we invested so much of our intellectual property, which has grown this platform to what it is today, right? You know, because if so-called black people weren't on YouTube, nobody would be on YouTube. Let's just keep it a buck. And I know many people would agree with me on that very subject. And if you agree, put a 1 in the chat if you agree that nobody would be on YouTube if we didn't get it popping. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with that. Because, you know, we're gonna have to talk about this and be we're gonna have to be real. There's a lot of, yeah, I see the ones flying in, right? There's a lot of things that we've contributed